Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we are live now. People will join. It will take time. I will put the names also people can see. Who already joined, or if you sit in YouTube later, I talk with Eric Evans, right?
Yes.
And you are a professional broker. How to say it? It's broker,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Broker.
I know Eric like maybe 5 years, because only when I start my business after something like 1 year, my partner, by the way, he scammed the company after like 1 year, but it was my partner, find your site, and we put in your site our portfolio, and we got offer from somebody from JP Morgan Bank. I don't remember what it was, but offer 50% to $200,000, and it was like, wow. We only make, you remember the time of skins. You make skins, and
Yes.
it was like we make money from nothing, and it's what he liked. Like we make money from nothing, and he think how we can multiply it, and he going to make from this profit. In the end of the day, we not agree. So the offer, I don't remember what happened. You for sure not remember, but I not remember. I think his offer was too low or something like this.
Right.
But it was interesting experience. So I think we talk one more time from this time, and now again we talk because I have some again up portfolio for sale, now much bigger, and it's interesting for me to show the audience. Now let's make some pause. I want to give you a link, so everybody who joined can say hey, hello, so we can see or hear us. 1 second, I will send you a link. All our audience basically are entrepreneurs, and 80% from them want to be entrepreneurs. I guess 15% already entrepreneurs, and 5% can be also potential buyers, because it's from many kind of people here. 1 second, I send you now in Skype the link to the event. Okay, so you can share it. I'm also going to share. If you see our see us in live, so you can share it, because I think it's one of the important. Somebody say hi or something, you see it like here.
Oh, cool.
Okay, cool. So it's basically the questions. I'm going to share it. Give me a minute.
Okay.
And I think it's one of the most interesting events, because it's not every day you talk with somebody who make like virtual exits. I can tell it's like everything is like digital companies, mobile apps, e-commerce business, and many type of companies, but it's not physical companies. Everything like digital, right?
Yes.
So it's really interesting, because you can understand how much can worth digital assets. It can be crazy price, and you can make your exit. Okay, now I will share. Let's see where I'm going to share it. It's here. I have also some group of investors. A long time not manage it, but let's see. Okay, we're already like 8 people in the event. Everybody who joined, please make some comment. Hi, hello. Is the way Facebook work. If you make a comment, so we can. Somebody I need to also close my WhatsApp. 1 second. So meanwhile, I am sharing, so you can little tell about yourself and what you're doing, because it's interesting, and maybe some people are first time see somebody who makes such activity online. So you can little tell about yourself.
What was the last word you said?
I say you can little tell about yourself, about what you're doing in general before I go to questions. I'm going to share the event.
Oh yeah, definitely. So it's like background on me.
Yeah. The background about you, about company, what you're doing, and how.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So let me see. My name is Eric Owens. Been brokering the sale of. I'm the owner of appbusinessbrokers.com, and been brokering the sale of internet businesses for about 14 years now, and then also mobile apps the last 6, almost 7 years. And we specialize in, like I said, all digital stuff. So internet businesses, whether it's e-commerce and Amazon, software as a service, or software businesses, and then on mobile apps, of course, everything app related we'll work on. And then we love helping our clients get their business sold because it can change their lives. You know, when you sell a business for millions of dollars or even hundreds of thousands, definitely sets you up to do so much different things with your life. So that's why we love doing it. Helps people transform their lives.
Basically, which type of businesses you sell? I know mobile apps. I also put a link for your site. So somebody wants to see the site, I put the link. But which type of mobile apps? I know a mobile app portfolio. I know. So what else you sell on your website?
Yeah. So with internet businesses, we do e-commerce, Amazon, software as a service, and we do other software businesses as well, and also just general business-to-business type services, as long as it's like digitally focused. So on online businesses for sure.
I see. Basically, let's talk about businesses that also worth money, but you not sell them in the site. Let's talk about Facebook page. Facebook page with 10 million followers. It's also a very powerful business, but it's not something you sell on your website.
Yeah, not typically. Yeah, not anything that we've sold before. We've had people ask about that, and also too, I think that's going to be something that's going to grow more. Certainly, the Facebook pages, and also we've seen people trying to start to sell YouTube channels and things like that. So.
I see. So basically, now you still not sell. You like sell more complicated businesses, right?
Typically, yeah. We haven't seen anybody come to us yet with a Facebook with like a fan page to sell yet, but.
Because also Instagram pages, big Instagram is today, you have all the influencers, the digital assets. It's very, very powerful. It can worth a lot of money for the right company.
Right.
I see. Okay, give one more minute. If somebody want to ask, by the way, and maybe have some business for sale and want to evaluate how much, he also can put in comments or to connect Eric later. Also, we have a website and also we have his profile. Okay, I will start. Basically, so you can sell every digital business in your site. So how it's work? I know how it's work, and you send me like big list. It will take me like 1 week to put all the details. So let's say, example, I have mobile app. Okay, my mobile app make $5,000. Okay, and it's nice, and I want to sell it. How you evaluate how much it's worth? Let's say mobile app would make passively $5,000 per month. So
yeah, so what we do on our end definitely is the first thing we do with clients is you have a quick call to learn more about what they're selling, and then do a free valuation like you're just talking about. That way, we always want to make sure we can get our clients a price that they're good with, and one we're confident we can go find a buyer for it in some reasonable time frame. Sometimes we'll play around with different valuations and see how high we can push it. We also match it up to what our seller clients, what they want. So sometimes people just want a quick sale, and you need to sell it right away to get funds for some other reason. So those scenarios will definitely price it a little lower to get a quicker deal done. But in general, on mobile apps these days, typically we see offers. So on the $5,000 a month one, that'd be around $60,000 a year. So typically on that, we'd get offers somewhere between 2 to 2.5 times what the yearly revenue is. So 120 to 150, somewhere in that range. Sometimes a little bit higher if it's an app where it still has a good amount of history behind it, but it's also still growing. Then sometimes we can get 3 times or in that range. Same thing if it has a good, strong user base. Buyers definitely look for that as well.
I think from my experience in our business, that you can take up like one of my apps, for example, I simply reskin, or if I have a brand and a few apps, and it's like very strong brand and very good apps with high technology behind, it's worth like much more money when only apps make revenue, I guess, right? If you have some maybe some trademark on it or something like this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've gotten our best prices and the strongest interest from, I'd say, really high level buyers, where it's like if it's an app or a portfolio with a small number of apps that are high quality, those definitely tend to get a better multiple than like, kind of like can't even really do the reskin stuff anymore. But like we see people with, some very simple apps, which are great. They make money, just don't get as high of a valuation versus like we sold an app back a while ago, a productivity app to a really big company. They own like Tinder and Match.com and a few other big things like that, where it was just a single app. And that's why they bought it. It was single app, very clear user base and demographics that they wanted to target. So
I see. So basically, I know it already is very big different from somebody who make portfolio of apps with like revenue units or with some brand where you can continue to grow it and you have already like social accounts and have a website and like users who really talk about it and like it.
yes.
Two different things.
Definitely.
I see. If somebody again have questions, please write in the comments. If you have some business to sell, so you can even give us the link and let us know how much money you make. I guess nobody will make it. So let me know. I know your site already 5-6 years. So I guess you already sell and buy businesses around more than 10 million, not 10 million, like $100 million or more.
For what we've sold?
From the moment you start this business, I guess you already like.
Yeah. We haven't totaled it up in a while. The last total we did was like around 45 million, but we got to go back a little bit further. But we sold about 45 million businesses or so. Although it's going up pretty quickly. So we have offers right now and on some that are, we can offer in on one for 6 million and a couple other ones that are going to be around between 3 and 5 million. So
what is the highest offer ever you sold somebody a business?
It was around 10 million in like total deal value. We only counted it as about 7 because that's the part that like we got paid on. So it was a combination of cash and seller financing and stock in a public company. And so that's where like the stock part, I think it ended up being closer to like almost $10 million in value for the seller, when all is said and done.
So it's interesting for me how this deal happened, because what happened in general, somebody come to your business, hey, I have a mobile business and I want to sell it. So such deal, it's not like you make it online, right? Because it's a very big deal. How basically the deal done? Because you are basically the connector. Right. I guess you can tell me how it's basically
sure.
work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the smaller deals, I'd say. Well, we've done. I think the biggest one we've done 100% online. I think the biggest one we've done with doing it all online is probably somewhere around $1.5 to $2 million, where like the buyer and seller never met in person, only talked by phone or Skype, and I never met the seller or buyer in person, and did it all online. The larger deals, it seems like definitely the buyers want to meet the seller in person. So we always encourage that wherever possible that we can. So like that $10 million deal, the seller client is someone who I had known for a couple of years, had met at a conference in person, very good relationship with them. And then the buyer, we found just through our network of channels when we started like putting the listing out and getting buyers coming through, but they had a person that was local near me. So we met in person. So basically I met with the buyer in person, and to just meet in person, initially make sure that they were for real and they got to see that I was for real and could show them some of the inside numbers of the business. And then they actually met up with the seller in person too. So they flew out to the seller once they were going to make an offer to meet with the seller in person and get to know them a little bit and go through some of the numbers with them as well. So the larger deals, I think meeting in person just helps show that, show you're for real and that it's establish that connection and credibility.
The amazing thing here, because you can tell us that you make deals on like thousands of dollars online, and some people, I never meet clients because most of my clients anyway are not from Israel. So when I start to get clients in Israel, everybody want to meet me. I tell them, hey, I don't have time for it, and it's also not have reason. We make a deal, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000. It's not. It's the biggest deal, if you're marketing like per month retainer. So we don't need to. No, I need to meet you. I need to see you. We can make Skype. It's okay. So some people not believe it's possible to close deal in online, but the world today is so small because we can make it like we sit in the same office basically. Because I see you, you can see my office, so it's the same.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
And many people still in Israel, and again, because I start from like, I first of all start to make apps. After that, I start to get clients worldwide. And in the end, like in the last year, I start also an advertising company in Israel. So because they're near me, like half an hour, 1 hour, they want to meet, they want to see something. I don't want, it's a waste of time for me. I need to go to find parking. I already invested when I make it, So everybody can close everything online if they want. It simply need to think about it's possible. If Eric can make deals with it's really big money deals. It's not small money for nobody. Also for the buyer, also for the seller. So
we have one app buyer client who I think we've sold at least, I'd say, $3 million worth of apps to him over the last 3 years. And we won't even talk to him now by phone. We'll send out information. He emails us questions. We get questions back to him, answers back to him by email, makes an offer. If the offer gets accepted, he wires money to an escrow account, and it's all just done.
I have feeling I know the buyer. You never tell me about it. I only will say the second name is Holdings.
Right. Yeah. There's a couple. Yeah. That's one. There's two.
The guy also buy for me. Not with you, but he buy everything. It's crazy.
Yeah. Definitely.
Wow. I will tell you how I know about it because I make promotion. So he has so many apps. I see his account and see every time he buy new apps, and so it's the same guy. So he also make the first big deal I make. It was like $25,000. Is with him, and I really don't believe I get the money in my bank. And it was like, wow, he really sent me the money. It's really happened, this deal. Cool. So basically the same guy. What else I want to ask you? So basically, what is like the secret from the seller side to maximize his profit from the deal? Because I think I know, but let me know what you think. What is what needs to be done?
Like, for selling for the maximum value. Definitely. And it varies a little bit between internet businesses and mobile apps. And mobile apps, it's a little bit more simple in terms of some of the business models of what's needed behind the scenes to drive revenue. But the typical factors are you're selling ideally on an upward trend of revenue growth, and at least, if not upwards, then where it's at least flat. We get a lot of seller clients where they have one current business going, and then they get a bigger idea that they want to work on. They start working on their new idea, and then totally kind of like let their original business slide. So it goes down in revenue. And then when they try to sell it, you just don't get as much value. That's the typical common mistake. So if you can sell on a trend where it's at least flat or growing, that's one big factor right there. And then for larger deals, even on mobile apps, and it applies a little bit more to internet businesses, really important to have clean, accurate financials, especially these days. We've seen some buyers where if the seller has clean, accurate financials, then the buyer can sometimes get third-party financing. So either bank financing or other sources. But you need clean financials to do that because usually the funding source has like their own regulations and things that they need to follow. So without the clean financials, sometimes that can't happen. And if a buyer can use bank financing to do the deal, typically as a seller, you're going to get a better multiple than you would from just a more individual investor making an all cash offer. So
I totally can understand because I also sell a lot of apps via Flippa. Flippa is like you, but much, much smaller.
Right.
You can sell things also a few $100s. And I sell also things for $1,000. But what I understand if you show clear and accurate like financial view, People even some I sell some apps, they even not see the app. They never saw the app. In simply buy it because they see like the data look real. I always like include because it was Flippa. It's not was like your part where I need to put a lot of data. I make a video, show them, the results. Show them what we make, what we expense, what the revenue. Show them what is logical behind it, but it's not be look like not normal. Somebody I not put any advertising and the app make like $2, $3 per user, and some spammy app. So something wrong here, no. So I think for somebody who want to sell the business, it's really to be very like honest in what you show, and it's basically sell. And this part of what you show, what you're honest, is worth more money because the buyer take less risk, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. When they can verify everything. And then see, another thing nowadays too that buyers have been looking for is you touched on it before, where if you have some kind of brand that you're building, or if it's just even if it's just like an app, if you do have like the social stuff where your users are interacting in some way, and with internet businesses, even if it's not a huge brand, if it's just a small brand where your buyers are at least the customers are familiar with you and continue to buy more stuff from you, so that helps out a lot too, because as a buyer, a new owner, they see where they can do a lot more with that and are able to take the business in different directions than maybe you thought of. So that definitely adds value to you.
Are you seeing sellers that are planned from the first day the exit strategy, where they know already they're going to make the exit and already prepare everything for the exit and like wait for it?
Some, but typically those are people who have sold a business before. So we're like when they're doing it the second time. Usually the first time, not. I mean, most people, I think they just usually when they go into it, they're more focused on getting it to make money in general, versus thinking of being able to sell it down the road. So
I already in the second part because I everything every business and every partnership. I have a few partnerships. I always tell them, hey, let's focus in the exit when we want to exit, and they think it's forever. And some tip for everybody who make mobile apps. Mobile apps, it's very shaky business.
yeah,
Is the reason it's not sold in so high price because if you make $5,000, let's talk about house. Some house that make $5,000 rent, it's very, very expensive house. It's like few $1,000,000, right?
right,
But the mobile app, it's not few
yeah,
dollars. So the reason it's very shaky business, and I can tell it for myself, that in the last 5, 6 years, dozens of accounts closed. Apple, Google, uploading Charbus. I guess you know everybody. I basically Charbus don't want to know my name, not because I make something, by the way. It's simply sometimes you don't make nothing, and somebody can even send you. For Charbus, I don't know what happened until today, but I work with them. They simply don't know it's me. But everything can happen, and when you have some mobile app that make some good money and you see some option to exit, I really can suggest you to make the exit, because when Apple or Google will change the rules, they are the boss. I guess you saw some examples of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've had clients where all of a sudden Apple just took down their app, like, and then sometimes you can get it back, other times no. So that's where, like, another thing we do is we have on the internet side of our business, we have some clients who they do all of their sales through Amazon. So, and that too is very risky. Like last year we had a deal that was in closing, and then 2 days before closing,
Wow.
I'm ready to go. 2 days before closing, Amazon killed the main product. It was a nutritional supplement business, and Amazon just took down the main product, which was 80% of the revenue. Wouldn't put it back up, wouldn't tell the sellers why. And they weren't doing anything bad. It was the listing had been there for that product for 3 years, hadn't changed it much. All we could figure out after the fact was Amazon was starting to sell nutritional supplements in that same niche. So
Wow.
yeah, like that was the only thing we could see that was any potential.
So how much money was the deal?
That was for 300,000. So yeah.
Wow.
So as the seller, they went from sitting there, thinking in 2 days they were going to be getting $300,000 to zero, because that killed the deal. So
So what happened if already he sell it, and after 1 week, the account go down.
Yeah, the technically the way it was structured, that definitely the risk would have been on the buyer. We always tell buyers if they're buying an Amazon business before they even buy it, we're like, you need to have a plan to diversify revenue off of Amazon because it can be risky. Yeah, where you could lose that.
So let's talk about little about Amazon business. What the valuation of Amazon business? Again, let's talk about $5,000 per month.
Yeah, those ones these days, as soon as you get offers, they're more like probably 1.5 to 2.5 times what the yearly numbers look like.
It's so risky. Wow, it's even more risky than our business.
Right. In some ways, yeah, smaller ones. If it's been around longer, it seems like people will value it higher. We've gotten some Amazon ones done more like 3 to 3.5 times the yearly type of numbers. But typically they're ones where they have multiple products and a good amount of history, where it was slightly less risky than the one that I was talking about. That was literally, it was, I think, 3 products, but like I said, that one product was 80% of the revenue. So
yeah. So everybody who wants now to learn courses of private label in Amazon, you need to know Amazon is very risky business, and it's better to split your products for more stores. I don't Target, Walmart, and more stores online, because I also know Amazon is very risky business. I never make Amazon. I even not make e-commerce, but I never think it's more risky than apps, because I was sure apps is the most risky business. So. Not the most, you have more things to do, but it's risky. Which kind of, basically, I guess you have very big amount of investors that already buy from you and like tell you, hey, Eric, if you have some good deal for me, so you know how to find me, right?
right.
So which type of, the guy we talk about him, I know him, the investor.
Right.
He simply buy apps. I don't know what his plan, by the way. I never understand what his plan. What I know, he not make so much money back from it. It's very strange for me. But let's talk about who is the buyers. Again, not the names, the type of buyers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So on the types of buyers that we tend to attract with our business, smaller listings, they tend to attract more individual type of buyer. So might be someone that's looking to buy a business, almost for like a lifestyle business, where maybe they've been successful doing something else with their life, and now they want an app business or an internet business where they can kind of run it from anywhere, be able to work from anywhere, that type of thing. That's one level of buyer. On another level that we work with a lot are scenarios where it's like a small group of either a couple of partners or one lead person and a couple of investors, where they'll make some really good offers and can close quickly. So that's one reason we like working with them. They're pretty simple and easy to work with. Like the guy you're talking about, he kind of fits that mold. But and then up from that level is some more private equity companies. So they're just basically companies that own multiple businesses and have a pool of investors behind them that they can usually pay more money. It takes a little longer to close out deals with them, just because they have their own processes when they go through closing that they have to do, since there's investors involved. And then I'd say across the board these days, I'm talking with buyers, in apps, we keep seeing people that if it's an app with recurring revenue, like a subscription-based app, it will get a lot of interest for sure. And then because it kind of matches up to where historically with internet businesses, the easiest ones we've ever sold have been ones where it's software as a service. So something where, a customer is paying some kind of monthly or yearly subscription for it, and has strong recurring revenue to it. Those will always sell. Like there'll always be some buyer that wants this for sure.
Okay, it's good to know, because now in what we want to sell, we're going to put some subscription from VIP option. So it's good to know that it's worth more money with apps that have some requiring payments, with not only like buyers can cut in one day or something like this. So it's really good to know. You can tell some story from the most crazy deal your was connection with something like happened, or
Oh yeah, let me think. On the downside, that Amazon one was one of the bad ones recently. I think we had one funny one time where we somehow there was a a contact of mine. It was a buyer, and then he was also working with a partner on to also look for deals, and his partner inquired, and so they both like made an offer on the same business, and we didn't realize it was them. So they were like negotiating against each other. The my contact on the buyer, and then the other buyer was talking to my business partner, and then the end turns out that these guys were business partners. So
Oh,
uh, then they got the another funny story. I think with apps, one of the we have another buyer who like has bought a bunch of stuff from us over the years. Where there was uh, there was one time where we put out an app, and then within like I think it was probably a day, he had made an offer on it, and like just wired money off to escrow even without having a purchase agreement. So the seller was pretty surprised. Where he had talked to us probably 2 days before, and then I think it took like maybe 7 days to get the whole deal closed out. Where within 7 days he had a couple $100,000 in his bank account.
how
Didn't know me before that. It was a scenario just where like the buyer really, really wanted the app. So as soon as we put it out, as soon as we emailed him about it, he made an offer, and then was like, "I'm gonna wire money for it." So
so how basically go to the deal? They send you the money and then you send to the seller?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So most of the smaller deals we do have we use just a simple escrow process where on it before the closing day, buyer will get their funds into an escrow account, and then once that's verified, then seller hands over whatever assets were detailed on the purchase agreement, and then funds get released to the seller once that's done. So uh, it helps make sure everybody gets what they paid for, and logistically make sure that it all happens. So,
I see. How long basically take a typical deal to close? Even not typical deal. Let's talk about you put a listing. In your site, it's like 90% of the listing are closed. I saw.
right.
It's very high percentage. So it's mean if you already agree to take this listing, it's mean it's very good percentage is going to be sold, right?
Yep, typically. Yeah, the ones where we don't sell, it's usually where it's experimental for some reason, where maybe us and the seller are trying to push the valuation as high as we can and see what we can get. Or we've done some deals where we've taken them on where there wasn't much revenue, but the assets had some value. So we wanted to see if the market was interested in it. And then in the end, the market wasn't interested in it. So once in a while, we'll take a gamble on things like that. But typically, if it's one where it's an app or internet business producing revenue, then we can value it. And if the value looks good to the seller, then we pretty much know we can get it sold some time frame. Most of our deals seem to take anywhere from 2 to 6 months, 2 months on the smaller deal size, 6 months on the larger deal size. And a lot of that is just a function of how fast the buyer moves. Like buyers seem to never move as fast as we do and as our seller clients do. They always move slower. And
I see. So let's talk about one more thing because it's happened for me in the past and it's happened for everybody. What about the scammers? Scammers from the two sides, the buyers and the sellers. It also can happen from the two sides. I guess you
yeah,
also have stories about it.
yes, definitely. On the seller side, we don't see a lot because we get a lot of our deals like from referrals from past seller clients, where typically they're a friend of a friend kind of thing. So don't tend to get too many scammers there. We did have one a while back though, where it bypassed our filters at first because like they were really sophisticated in terms of like they had screenshots that looked very real, and it was a e-commerce deal, so Shopify store, and it all looked really good. And then like we looked at a little more detail, and we're like, wait a second, this domain name was just registered like I think it was 3 months beforehand, but the seller
Wow.
had like 2 years of history for the revenue, and they're like, yeah, that doesn't match up, and like they kind of tried to explain it away, and then once we asked for live verification like from their Shopify store, then they couldn't produce that. So they were just trying to get someone to go off of screenshots and do it that way. Uh, so that's definitely one thing to watch out for. Is definitely get as a buyer, you definitely want to get live verification of stuff and do due diligence to make sure that you're actually going to get what you paid for, that it's real, and that the seller's real.
I see.
And then on the buyer side, we do get buyers once in a while. We screen out a lot of them. We get some people that inquire off of our listings where I think they're just looking for like free market research, where they just want the data, the information on the business. Maybe they're going to try to go compete, or they want to learn something, but they're not a real buyer. So like we make people sign non-disclosure agreements, and then for our larger listings too, we'll have them financially verify that they have the funds to be able to actually do the deal. So that's another way that can screen people out. And then in the end too, on buyers for larger deals, once we get to the stage where they make an offer, we'll have a buyer do like an actual, we'll call it a letter of intent. Some people call it a term sheet, something like that. So just a written description of the deal terms and what they need for due diligence. And at that point, have them do a deposit. So they put down a deposit, help show that they're real and they're not just looking to scam stuff. Because biggest things we see are people inquiring, trying to get free information. Or once in a while, we'll have a buyer who they say they have money, but they really don't. So they're just looking to get an offer accepted, and then they try to go find the money at that point. So that's the other thing to watch out for.
Because in the smaller sales, like a few $100, few $1,000, scammers are crazy. I even make some video about Flippa in YouTube. It's like I guess 10,000 already watched the video.
Wow.
Some of them was like not like what I show, but it was the real. I show simply how people scam, because I know how to read it. I know I know how to see, and somebody put like screenshots from Charboost. I guess you know Charboost, right?
Yeah.
Platform. In Charboost, you can put under one. First of all, it's not the campaign. It's not mean it's one app. You can put under campaign like 200 apps. And when some new buyer comes, you see, oh, nice, it's very high revenue, but it's very easy to change the name. So the screenshot is not relevant. And many scammers make the same system with Charboost, and simply the show results are, the crazy thing, people, don't have gifts. You can find something with very good value, but nobody sell up and make $2,000 per month and $4,000.
Right.
It's not logical. Yeah. But still, I still get messages because I put my email who want consultation call how to buy app. I make like $200 when I see the app and make it with I tell, oh, it's really not real, or helping to find something. Flip again. I told you, like smaller broker, because I know how to make it in small scale, and it's cool because I also get the buyer after it. The buyer is my client because he need to update the app, I need a son and everything. So it's also cool for me. So if you see something, and I see in my group and many groups in Israel and in Facebook, hey, I saw somebody offer me very, very good opportunity business. The very, very good, it's very, very bad, because it's one at a time you can find somebody who don't really know what he sell, but most of the time, what looks too good, I guess you can agree with me, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
It's really too good. It's not about.
Yeah, that old saying holds true a lot. Yeah, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Yeah.
And nobody gives like stuff for free, and always it's always like, right, and I don't have time to invest on this business, and I want to move to the next business. So yes, it's sometimes right, but most of the time it's not the way to buy some business or some digital assets on everything you want. Somebody have questions? I'm sure somebody here want to buy or sell, or somebody will see it later, can write. Basically, I also talked with Eric before, because also I want to sell something now with him. And also I get a lot of offers, and a lot of people ask me, hey, how I sell it? I want to buy or something. So I close already deal with Eric, not about my group in general, but if somebody from my group want help to sell his business, before I even talk with Eric, so I can talk with him and connect him to Eric. And if somebody want to buy, for sure in mobile apps I can help a lot, because it's like my niche. So I really can help you to make the deal. And of course, later Eric will need to find you a buyer and make all the rest things, so you can I will put my email also, the video on YouTube, because people can see it worldwide, not only in Israel. I will say in Hebrew. כל מי שרוצה למכור בקיצור עסק, כללי, אמזון, שופיפיי, אפליקציות, הכל, אני כבר עושה את זה תקופה מסוימת, ואני עוזר לאנשים למכור ולקנות, בגלל שאני כבר עשיתי את זה. אז אתם מוזמנים לפנות, ואני אקשר אתכם עם אריק, ויעזור לכם לעבור את זה. Now we'll move again to English. If it's your first time to sell and buy business, it's the most hard thing, I guess, right? Because you don't know what expected.
Yeah, definitely. I always encourage people to, like it's smart to work with a broker just because it can help save us, as a first-time seller, save a lot of time and energy. If it's if you're just selling a single app, it's one thing, but if you're selling like a larger business, it can be a little bit of an emotional roller coaster where, sometimes you may end up in a scenario where like you think the deal's going to close and the buyer backs out and like stuff like that, and or dealing with buyers where buyers sometimes they just care about the numbers. They don't really care about how much love and effort and energy you put into it.
It's so right. It's so right. It happened to me a lot when somebody is the deal. You know how much I put effort in it already, like 1 year. Nobody care, right?
Yeah.
Nobody care about it. It's your business. It's not the buyer business. He don't care how much love and what is your wife, maybe dead, started like 3 years ago. It's only can like broke the deal, I guess, because it's not happened. Business is business in this part, and I you will tell you your opinion. What I know, buyers like to see like a graph that go up, right? So what else? But let me know some tips of typical business that buyers like.
Yeah, definitely. So the seeing the revenue on a growth trend, and then for apps also seeing a user base that's growing as well, and then definitely on apps, higher quality apps these days. If there's any way to do subscription revenue with the app, that's definitely a way to maximize value. And then if there is if you have used main, certainly outsourced development and use main developers, then making sure that those developers can help maintain it for some support and transition period for the new owner. Sometimes even if they have their own team, they'll want help for a little while. And then, like I said, if you can do anything on the social side where you have your user base and prospects interacting, and then build any kind of brand, especially with internet businesses, I think that's probably a little bit even more important there. And then with internet businesses, one of the things we see nowadays with buyers is they almost expect that you're going to have multiple advertising and marketing methods going. So if you have like a drop ship or an e-commerce store, if you don't want to use only Facebook advertising, you want to have a few different ways to advertise and bring in revenue. Otherwise, it's higher risk. And then also multiple ways to market to those customers. So build an email list, market to them by email, things like that. So, and a lot of that stuff, it's really, if you think about it, like all the stuff that we advise clients on, it positions the business where it's less risk for the buyer, and that's what they want ultimately.
I see. In this, I can say it's also right for business, and also, for example, what I make now, it's built by brand, and you build your brand.
Right.
It's what we do now. It's the reason we waste time now to talk, because we build our brand. Yeah. And it's very, very critical for every business, no matter what you want. Like you go to buy something and you don't buy shirts or clothes, you buy Nike, Adidas. And basically you can go to the market and buy it like 3 times less, the same. But it's not Nike or Adidas. I already not buy brands because brands, they're not teenager.
Right.
But if we talk for some people, many people, not some people, and the teenagers for sure, they simply buy brands, and it's what they care, and it's worth more money. Cool. It was a really great call. So if somebody sees it later, I'm going to put in YouTube, please, again, comment, and if you have something to sell, I'm going to put also site of Eric. You can send directly to Eric. You can tell what you see it from. It's going to upload to our brand Astolik, the mobile company, because in Israel anyway people see in Hebrew, so it's less critical. And how was the interview? It was okay?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, thanks for having me on. This was great. Loved it. So
Cool. For me, still it's strange to make interviews in English
yes,
because
right.
it's not like my native language. And make interview in English in Israeli group, it's like, hey, what I'm doing, Not some people really don't understand. So, but
Yeah,
I think it's important. It's also going to be shared. Thank you very much for your time. It was great. And first time we see each other, it's
yeah,
again crazy thing. We was very close to close a deal in very big money. We never saw each other. I
right.
only picked Skype, so it was great. 1 second, I will finish. You want to say something before we
No,
finish?
yeah, just thanks for having me on, Tolek. I really appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you very much. 1 second.